Okay. Alright, y'all, we're live with Politicast number 2. I have not done a Politicast stream since June of this year, and honestly, it's quite interesting. I have not done a single stream like this since June. So yeah, I'm hoping this will be pretty good. The first topic here we have to cover here that I'm going to be talking about is the Texas abortion law. So, the thing that has been sweeping the media as of late has been the Texas abortion law. So as of recently, the Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed into law a bill pretty much saying women cannot get an abortion. It is pretty strict, and I do disagree with some aspects of it. No, I'm not pro-choice. I'm going to be talking about it here. So, the Texas abortion bill. And again, you know, it's looking at everything that's been happening because of it. It's outright ridiculous. The crap people have done, and really the things that people have said. In general, you know, this is an absolute overreaction. And people are only complaining, you know, because a lot of these people want to live a lifestyle where all they do is go around and do it with people they don't even know. They'll hook up on Tinder, they'll have like a one-night stand, and then they leave. And then effectively what happens is these people go out and get an abortion. They use it as a birth control measure, despite the fact you shouldn't be using that. And if really all this is an excuse for people to live a reckless lifestyle where they're prone to STDs and they're prone to all sorts of stuff. People don't understand that, but this entire thing is just an sorry. This entire thing is just an excuse for people to live in a reckless lifestyle. And this whole my body, my choice thing is really ridiculous. I will be covering that Me Too crap in a later stream, probably on Monday, as I do have to stay home from school sick. Well, quote-unquote sick. I had to go home on Friday because I supposedly have COVID, or I have COVID symptoms and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, but the Texas abortion bill, again, this is really something interesting. Texas has always been the greatest state in the entire United States. There are several reasons why. One of them is a bit of a personal bias as well.
Cool, they rolled Titans.
Again, I mean, if we're talking, Texas being, an example state, I think it is right now. I think other states should follow the abortion path. And again, the Texas abortion bill was a good move. My only problem with the Texas abortion bill would have to be simply the fact that, it was a bit too restrictive. I think, for abortion, my stance on abortion is pro-life, allow in cases of danger to the mother or child, incest, or rape. Outside of that, no. And again, this was a bit too strict, but I still like it. I still support it. And again, this is just, it's a bill I think other people could most definitely follow. So, yeah. And the protests about this have been absolutely ridiculous. There was, a Texas doctor, as you can see here, who performed the abortion, in defiance of new state law. I hope this guy rots in hell. I hope this guy dies a painful death. I don't hope he dies a painful death. YouTube, don't take me down. But I hope this guy gets what's coming for him. Eye for an eye, so to speak. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. You murder an innocent life. It's gonna come back to you. It's gonna burn you. And in the words of a color commentator in the ALDS of 2015, you can only flirt with fire for so long, and then it's gonna burn you. That's all I have to say on the Texas abortion bill. Next up here, we're going to be talking about the Canadian snap election that is upcoming in 2 days on September 20th. So in 2019, this goes back to 2015 actually. In 2015, the Liberal Party won a majority. They won more than 50% of the seats, giving them essentially giving them a majority government, so they were able to do whatever they wanted. Trudeau was able to do whatever he wanted for Canada, whatever he wanted, no matter what. He was able to put them through tyranny. And again, it was awful. The carbon tax, especially. Enter 2019. Trudeau loses the popular vote. Everyone, all the libtards are gonna say, "Oh, well, actually, uh, we need to be more like Canada. We need a popular vote system." But Canada does the complete opposite of a popular vote. Trudeau actually lost the popular vote to Andrew Scheer in 2019, even though Scheer was terrible. And Trudeau still won because of the people of Quebec, or because of Montreal and Toronto. That is the reason why he won. If you're a conservative, you need to flip seats in Toronto and Quebec, and then Quebec, as well as make sure you don't lose ground in Saskatchewan, Alberta. Maybe try to make gains in Vancouver. But either way, the Conservative Party of Canada is an absolute joke. These people, Andrew Scheer is not. The Conservative Party is not a. They are fake conservatives. They are slightly more to the right than the Liberal Party. This would make them the Democrat Party. The Canadian Liberal Party is essentially in lockstep with the Democrats on a lot of things. They are in lockstep with the Democrats on social issues, pretty much a little more to the left on economics. Uh, the Conservatives are pretty much Democrats. They are the diet liberals, and Scheer was terrible. Stephen Harper was a decent PM. He was pretty conservative for Canada. He was pretty good. However, in 2021, they voted Erin O'Toole as the party leader, and this guy is terrible. This guy's even worse. He believes in a carbon levy, which is it's literally a carbon tax. He believes in increasing taxes for petroleum. He believes in uh, he also believes in globalism. O'Toole also believes in the COVID vaccine mandates. And yeah, in general, O'Toole, he is not a real conservative. He does not fight for the conservatives of Western Canada. He does not fight for the unheard voices of Western Canada. And again, the conservatives have become the only reason they are so popular in the western half of Canada is because the liberals have become so environmentalist that they can't win. The Conservative Party candidates in 2019 were winning their races in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba by like Saddam Hussein level margins, and it wasn't even funny how big they were winning by. They're getting like 85% of the vote. And really that proves how unpopular the Liberal Party is. And instead O'Toole just becomes the Diet Trudeau. And honestly, like I want Mad Maxine Bernier, member of the People's Party, guy who loves his country, wants the best for Canada, actually will get things done, and wants to, essentially give Canada freedom that they've lost under Trudeau. Whether that's the restriction of gun rights, the COVID lockdowns. I do hope to see. Uh, I do hope to see Bernier rise to power, and even the if the Conservatives get screwed over by the People's Party, good. I don't care. Honestly, like, the Liberals are going to win. Trudeau is going to win, and that's the unfortunate part. Trudeau will win, and we need to live with that. However, I think, arguably, the 45th election, the next time, whenever that's held, will likely be 2025. So in 2025, that'll pretty much mean that Trudeau probably will lose then, should he not like resign or lose leadership or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I arguably, you know, uh, O'Toole just he doesn't fight for the people of Canada. All he is just he gets run over. Like he's his campaign has just been driving off a cliff repeatedly, and because of how unpopular Trudeau is, he's pulled in front in the polls.
You get a vacillating Jason?
The only reason he's pulled in front is because of how unpopular Trudeau is. And again, 20 going back to 2019, the 2019 election, the very close race, going back to the opinion polls, conservatives, it was a close race leading up to the election in 2019. Conservatives had the advantage, and they still lost because Andrew Scheer was terrible. If Bernier were to win the Conservative leadership election, arguably they probably would be more effective, and Trudeau wouldn't even be in power right now. He would have lost in 2019. But no, because Bernier, again, the thing is Bernier ended up, becoming a part of, started his own party because of how bad the Conservatives were. He lost. He lost his own seat to a Conservative. Actually, I think it was to a Liberal. I don't know. Either way, Mad Max will probably have a good shot at winning. Canada has had a surge in populism. The people of Western Canada are sick. I mean, if we look at the opinion polls again, these people down here, look at that. I mean, the People's Party has been surging. They could overtake the NDP. Now, granted, if the Conservative Party gets their crap together and they can actually win, if they get their crap together and dump O'Toole, arguably I could most definitely see them being a good party. But this party they're fake. They're full of crap. And that's what I have to say. They are full of garbage. Uh but still, the only reason conservatives win the popular vote is because of how unpopular the liberals are, and the conservatives don't care. They don't care. And again, Western Canada, I welcome Western Canada to secede and become a part of the United States. I would definitely support that. If they get used to the American healthcare system, they would probably vote overwhelmingly Republican. I mean,
Wait, did you turn the planets down in this one?
there was talks of Alberta becoming a state. I mean, it was kind of a joke, but still. That's what I have to say about the Canadian snap election. The Liberals are going to win. They'll form another minority government. Trudeau will lose more seats. And if let's say on the odd chance Trudeau loses, you don't have O'Toole is just Trudeau on a diet. That's all O'Toole is. Vote Mad Max because he'll actually get things done. That's all I have to say about the Canadian snap election. Uh, with that, I do have a guest to bring on here. A longtime follower of my channel, C Willard123, and yeah. So, Mr. Seawill, one of the first member to call in. What do you have to say? Just anything political. Ask any question. Yeah, in a sense. I mean, I agree with that. Not surprised. Do you have any legitimate questions at all? I mean that's probably a good pick, but I mean to be honest with Ron DeSantis, and I know I'm gonna kind of derail the DeSantis hype train I started, but DeSantis, he's been a good governor, but the problem with him is, I don't really know if he's a part of the swamp or against it, because clearly he had a very moderate voting record in Congress when he was in the House of Representatives. He voted against several bills that would expand oil fracking.
Yeah, shot away teeth.
But again, I don't really I don't really care. Like thing is, DeSantis would be a good pick, but honestly, I say if you really want to be go for populism and emphasis, your 2016 message for
It's
Donald Trump,
Shadow
you
IQ
arguably
messaging.
have to go for probably Josh Hawley. Hawley is probably the most populist senator besides maybe Ron Paul or Rand Paul. Outside of Rand Paul, there's really no populists that I know of, or at least any that are close to Donald Trump populism.
I'm shit
Hawley would
stats.
be able probably to maybe give Trump a chance at picking off Minnesota. And arguably, if he does pick Hawley, I think that does help Trump in states like Nevada that are fairly populist already. It does help him in Michigan quite a bit. Hawley is a proven candidate for the working class. He has tried to get several bills passed that would help the working class, such as middle class tax cuts, uh, more trade protectionism. Again, Josh Hawley, perfect pick. Outside of Hawley, I say DeSantis would be the next best option. Uh, Maybe Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, if you want to go with the Hispanic vote. Uh, Again, I'm not. I would say if this was like February 2021, I would say Kristi Noem, but she's kind of turned into an absolute neocon because she's dumping refugees into her state. So no, but he's not gonna pick Pence. He wouldn't pick Pence. There's no way.
Scott, is there a problem with that? You have some sort of problem there?
Uh, that's actually something I should cover soon. So yeah, honestly, like if we're being if we're being serious, like the problem with a lot of these takes, a problem with the Republican Party is that they don't want. Like, thing is, the problem with Trump was not him; it was the people surrounding him. He was surrounded by snakes, and it bit him in the back. The snakes were guys like Lindsey Graham, the Never Trumpers, people who took advantage of no prior political experience and essentially exploited him into making bad decisions. Uh, take for example, people like Ivanka Trump who blocked
They provided
the
what they deserved.
majority of Trump's agenda. Arguably, if it weren't for Ivanka being Trump's daughter, she wouldn't have been an advisor. Likely, Trump would have been able to get more things done. And arguably, should Trump have had a better cabinet and a better campaign advisor, he probably would have won 2020. Even with even with the midnight shenanigans going on, that could have happened. Uh, and, and again, I'm only saying midnight shenanigans could have happened because that's kind of what I have to say. For those of you who know about what happened to me in August, but that's besides the point right now. But again, this is probably what a Trump Hawley map would look like in 2024 on a good night. Nevada flips, Arizona flips, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia flip back. Again, people are always go, oh, Georgia's long gone. It's like, no way. Georgia was a fluke last time. I see Georgia flipping back. I don't know why people say Georgia is gone. People are saying Arizona's going away. No, it's not. And all the people are going to say Trumpism hurt the states like Georgia and Arizona. No, it didn't. Trumpism helped. Look at all the neocons outside of John McCain in Arizona who lost. Martha McSally, neocon. I respect her as a fighter pilot, but look at Martha McSally. She got wrecked. She lost to Mark Kelly. She got less votes than Donald Trump did, and not only that, but in Georgia, again Perdue and Loeffler were also neocons, and they lost. I don't understand where this whole Trump hurt Trump in Georgia and Arizona. No, it didn't. It helped. Kansas, it helped. Illinois, I think, could come back. I think the trends out of Chicago look promising. The only thing that scares me about Illinois is that just a one-time thing? That's the thing about Illinois that scares me. Is that just a one-time thing? Was that because of the lockdowns? or was that like genuine people breaking to Donald Trump because they like Donald Trump? And that's the problem is a lot of these trends in 2020 were, or shifts I should say, were completely like they were all over the place. Exactly, and I think another thing to right now, again, the problem with 2020 was the potential midnight shenanigans. Uh, and again, if we're looking at a lot of the trends, like look at Chicago, I mean the trends out of Chicago look promising. I mean fairly red shifts. But again, the thing that scares me is Chicago had been a left-moving city for quite a while, and all of a sudden it takes a sharp turn to the right. Let's also take a look at Los Angeles, a fairly Democrat trending city since the 90s, moved to the right in 2020. San Francisco, a Democrat trending city, moved right. Uh, New York City, even a Democrat trending city, moved right. And a lot of the red trends in New York City was either because of population loss, or it was either the population loss and Orthodox Jew neighborhoods. I like the problem with Minnesota, and again, I was confident that Trump could take Minnesota. I do criticize Red Eagle, and again, people know I love Red Eagle on this channel, but I have my criticisms of Red Eagle. Red Eagle politics. You know who I'm talking about. He's like, oh, I'm black pilled on the Minnesota take. It's never gonna go red, and it's like, what are you talking about? Minnesota went from being at D plus like 10 to 16 state every year to being lower than 10. Again, look at 2016. If we pull out 2016, Minnesota. The thing that scares me about Minnesota. Yeah, the thing that scares me about Minnesota, and again, the thing that scares me about my home state is the trends out of the suburbs, the trends out of Dakota, Washington, Scott, and Carver, all those counties. Again, change from 2016. Scott County moved left by 8 points. Carver County moved left by 8 points. Dakota County moved left by 9 points. Washington County moved left by 7.2. Anoka County moved left by 7.1. Wright County moved left by 4. And that's the scary part. And also places like Rochester, which were once Republican strongholds, are D plus 11. And that's the problem is Minnesota is such a weird state when it comes to politics. You know, rural Minnesota, blood red. But the problem with rural Minnesota is it was once the DFL's bread and butter. This was where the Democrats in Minnesota. This is how they won Minnesota. Was not because of the Twin Cities suburbs, which were historically Republican up until recently, but Minnesota again. Rural Minnesota isn't voting. This isn't voting the same way Nebraska or rural Kansas is. It is not voting 77% for Trump. It is voting Trump plus 26, Trump plus 40, Trump plus 30, Trump plus 29. It's not voting in, like Nebraska or Kansas level margins. And arguably, if you do, if we pull out the election shuffler, should rural Minnesota, let's say you get around, okay, let's move every rural county. Let's shift all. Okay, let's select all and remove Minneapolis, St. Paul. Let's move all the states, all the counties in Minnesota by 3 points. Now if I can just change that to R. So shift selected counties. The state moves right by 2. Let's select all counties. R plus, let's move it right again by, let's say 5 points, 6 points. Excluding Minneapolis and St. Paul. The state goes to D plus 1.17. Move it right by another 3. Select all, exclude Minneapolis and St. Paul, and the state flips red. But the thing is look at what you would need to do in the rural half of the state. You would need to be cracking at least 35% at a minimum in some of these counties. I don't think with Nicollet County is I've seen the demographic trends out of there. I've seen everything happening there, whether it's Mankato getting bigger, or places like the town of St. Peter getting bigger. No, Mankato. I'm talking about the Mankato suburbs. Yeah, North Mankato. In Nicollet County. I mean, Mankato's growing. Places like St. Peter are starting to get bigger. Yeah, I mean, non-white voters in Minnesota have been starting to vote more Republican. If you exclude what happened in the Twin Cities when it comes to the results, outstate Minnesota, like Asian voters came out heavily for Donald Trump. The Red Lake Reserve voted pretty big for Trump. The Iron Range, a place that was historically Democrat, has started to come out for Trump. Trump was getting decent margins for a Republican in these areas. Uh, the only problem is the Duluth suburbs. Again, the deal with Minnesota is it could flip, but the only problem is you need to find a guy who Donald Trump's personality is probably why the suburbs moved left. It wasn't his policy, and everyone says, oh, the suburbs moved left because it was they hate Trump. No, they moved left because they didn't like his personality. Your average suburban voter is a gentle, nice person. These people who don't like it when they get called out. They freak out like suburban Karens. They went from turning out for George W. Bush to turning out for Biden because Biden was nicer. Even though Biden dropped the N-word twice on the Senate floor and much more. But, like, Biden is not an angel. And again, arguably Trump's personality hurt him in the suburbs just because Biden was able to just say Trump bad. And that arguably for the most part Trump did get a lot of things done for a modern day Republican president. And the problem with modern day Republicans is you get these members of the Republican Party who they don't quite get it. And all these people are like, oh, neocons dislike Trump on policy. No, they don't. They don't like him because he's there to destroy. He's an anti-establishment figure. He's only there. He's only there. Like he's there to get rid of the swamp. He was there to drain the swamp, and that's why neocons didn't like him. That's why Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, by the way, was like the worst Speaker of the House ever for a Republican. The guy is the reason why the 2018 midterms were disastrous. Not only that, but he was also the reason Republicans couldn't get a health care plan together. But just my point is these neocons couldn't win. Everyone says neocons do better in places like Georgia. Look at the neocons there. Look at what happened to the two neocon senators there. They both lost. The neocon senators in Arizona, they both lost. Look at okay. But in general, in conclusion, sure Trump did mouth off a bit at times, but the problem is Donald Trump still got the job done. I mean, and the problem is if he wasn't surrounded by absolute idiots, he probably would have gotten more things done. Again, places like Beltrami County, the Red Lake Indian Reserve, one of the poorest areas in the entire state of Minnesota. Again, Donald Trump won that county. He became the first Republican to win that county since Bush. Uh, Mahnomen, one of the poorest areas in the entire state, voted red. Norman, one of the poorest counties in the entire state, voted red. Itasca, Kooky King, Aitkin, Pine, all some very poor areas in the northern half of the state, voted Republican. And arguably Trump did have an effect on the economic success of northern Minnesota. But Where am I getting with all this? Minnesota is a state that could become red. I do think Minnesota will become a red state very soon. And the thing is people always say, you know, the people are always saying that, oh, Donald Trump, like, he's so terrible. And people like Radio, like, oh, I'm blackpilled on the Minnesota take. Like, I don't ever think Minnesota's going red. I mean, this is the same guy. I mean, this the same guy who thought Texas was gonna be like lean R in 2020, but ended up being likely R. And again, I like Red Eagle. He's one of the better, political prediction channels out there. Better than LTE. I made an entire video ranting about LTE. I don't think it's up. It's not up anymore, but again, I guess the thing we need to conclude here is Minnesota will become a red state. Wisconsin is probably going to become like a likely R type state. Iowa and Ohio are going to be safe. Pennsylvania will probably be like a tilt to lean R state, most likely. But again, if we're analyzing trends out of a lot of places, states like California have been trending to the right. Again, LA, the shifts out of LA in Hispanic areas like El Monte, Compton, even Inglewood, and even the rich areas moved right, and that's just how it goes. I mean, again, California not gonna be anywhere even close to being likely D, but California, I think, could become a red state probably 30 years down the road if things like this continue. If San Francisco and LA come within D plus 18, that I think does help Republicans carry the state. If you keep it within 20, you do have a shot at carrying the state, as long as you don't lose in San Diego. And again, the thing is the growing population in San Diego is worrying. San Diego has fallen off a cliff, essentially. Uh, yeah. But I guess to conclude with all this here, to wrap up tonight's stream, Donald Trump will win in 2024 if he runs. The 2022 midterms, the red wave is on. The red wave is going to happen. The red wave is going to be very big. It's going to be very strong. Republicans probably going to take back the House. I'm confident that Republicans will take back the House. I'm confident Republicans can take back the Senate. White House in 2024 is next. Again, Donald Trump, he has unfinished business. He has some business to take care of when it comes to Minnesota, Wisconsin. He has some business to take care of. Whether that's, maybe not. He tried to pander a little too much to the black community in 2020, but he flip-flopping on BLM, whatever. My point is Donald Trump needs to, arguably, like, Trump needs to, he needs to come back, he needs to finish the unfinished business that he has. And that's all I have to say. This was a good second Politicast stream. I would go longer, but the problem is I don't feel the best. As you guys know, my Canadian video, I am fairly sick. I had to get COVID tested today, and it's going to take 3 to 4 business days. Thank you, Walgreens. Very much appreciated. So expect more content, most likely. Expect more content later on. But for now, Republicans, energy's on our side. Go out and vote in 2022. Vote for authentic conservatives in the primaries, and make sure to vote for them in the general election. I'll see you guys in the next one.